Star Wars in gaming has been a mess, especially for the last decade or so, and that can be blamed on Disney giving Electronic Arts exclusivity of the franchise. We had those terrible Battlefront games, very underwhelming. Obviously, Battlefront 2 ended up getting better, but it'll be remembered for the microtransaction disaster that it was, and also, obviously, that lie of a campaign which you're supposed to play as a villain, but it really didn't end up being that way. The Jedi games from Respawn Entertainment have been really the only highlight, and even then they've had their issues, especially at launch for Jedi Survivor. And then there's just a litany of canceled projects that looked very interesting, such as Amy Hennig's Visceral Games project that she had in development for years until EA pulled the plug. Now, Star Wars Outlaws, first open-world Star Wars game, and it's coming from Ubisoft, finally an outside developer other than Electronic Arts. It's been about a decade or so, and Outlaws gives me vibes of Star Wars 1313, which was probably one of the most promising Star Wars projects in history that ended up getting canceled by Disney once they acquired the franchise. That was in development, I believe, by LucasArts, and that whole studio was shut down, again, when George sold the franchise to Disney. Now, with Star Wars Outlaws, when the first trailer came about, I actually thought the gameplay looked rather interesting. Obviously, Kay Vess, the protagonist, looks like a knockoff of, let's just be honest, she looks like Han Solo, just a knockoff version of that. And I would not be surprised that it began as a Han Solo game, but everything since has been worrying. I've been trying to be a little hopeful about this project because in many regards it kind of feels like it should be a dream Star Wars project, but we've had controversies like this. Star Wars Outlaws Ultimate Edition for $130 continues an industry trend of paying lofty sums for early access and players don't like it. Why is everything monetized? Alternatively, you can pay just $110 for early access, but no in-game bonuses. Ubisoft has become notorious with having microtransactions in their single-player games, and it is becoming something that is tiring. It's very irritating, it's very annoying, and yes, it does call into question game design, because once you have those microtransactions there, people are right to assume that the game design is being altered to push you in that direction. And I know people have argued, no, these games are extremely generous with rewards and stuff, but I don't care. As long as there's a store there, those questions are extremely valid. And yeah, the pre-orders and everything, you get early access. I hate that developers are doing this. EA just did that with their soccer game, and they're making billions off of it. It's a dangerous precedent. But even then, there's been other major issues, such as the new Star Wars Outlaws trailer looks shockingly bad. This was a story trailer back in April, and that's where the conversation really started to emerge surrounding Outlaws and the controversy surrounding the game. Obviously, there's been some in regards to Kay Vess's appearance. That's not necessarily relevant to the point with this trailer because it's very worrying. And this is an example of what I'm talking about. This was the trailer 3 months ago, 185,000 dislikes. That's insane. And then the comment section is quite brutal. Never believe Ubisoft until you try the game yourself. Ubisoft told me to be comfortable not owning their games. I'm going to be very comfortable not buying them. That's actually something that they did say at the beginning of the year. Daily reminder, do not give your money to people who despise you. Remember, never pre-order from Ubisoft, and it goes on and on. You kind of get the point. Now, as of late, there's been even more concerns because we've had articles and previews like this in which game reviewers actually got access. This is Eurogamer. After worryingly dated hands-on with Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft's Galactic open world feels less excited than expected a long time ago. This is why I'm extremely nervous. This is why I'm extremely skeptical about this game, especially when you have multiple articles like this. We'll get to the other ones in a second, but this is part of the article. It says, having played Star Wars Outlaws for a good hour or so ahead of the Ubisoft Forward show, however, I've come away with a renewed appreciation for Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. In fact, no, a bit more than that. In comparison to Outlaws' admittedly early work-in-progress demo, I just don't like that excuse because the game releases in a couple of months. You can't call that an early demo, even if it is an old build. It does continue. It says they stand as singular pieces of revolutionary high art, the Jedi games from Respawn. Outlaws' early gameplay feels positively ancient, not only mechanically but in execution, and its near total lack of character flair, invention, detail, or style. And trying to describe it, the closest comparison I can draw is with Uncharted Golden Abyss, which launched in 2011 on the PS Vita, and the article later goes on to mention that the sense above all is that Outlaws is a game that is intentionally aiming for a mechanical light touch, which is absolutely fine. There is room for games that are more approachable and set themselves up for broad appeal, and it's fitting for Star Wars' family audience. But in Outlaw's case, it feels like a clear step beyond approachable and into something potentially bland. Bland and Ubisoft feels like it goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Come back to Jedi, the inevitable comparison given the similarities, it's a painful contrast. Even down to the finer points, the level of detail and attention feels light years apart. And again, this sentiment has been echoed by other previewers. Digital Trends, Star Wars Outlaws might be a little too close to the Uncharted for its own good. And then PC Gamer even said Outlaws has the same problem as every modern Star Wars thing, playing it way too safe. There's still so much we don't know about Outlaws, but I saw moments of greatness. And that's the thing about these Ubisoft games. There's always a little bit... There's some greatness there, it's just never enough. Now, for the reason why we are doing this video, we have some exclusive new gameplay coming from IGN, and it's extremely worrying. As you can see, this one already has 41,000 dislikes. And yeah, 10 solid minutes of don't pre-order energy, how to save 80 euros in 10 minutes. The explosions look like something you've seen in those TV games from the 90s. So we're going to ignore the frame drops and San Andreas like explosions. A $100 game from the publisher that brought you the first quadruple A game in history, something that CDPR themselves made fun of. Yes, Skull and Bones, that horrific experience. Shoots a blaster multiple times, the enemy dies while screaming. Other enemies is someone there. Oh boy, I have not actually seen this gameplay. This will be my first time, and I'm actually very interested to see how disastrous this is. And so we begin. I mean, just right off the bat, the one thing I noticed, this is in 4K, the quality. The texture quality just doesn't look quite right. I'm not sure why that is, but maybe this is just nitpicking so far. I do love that every Star Wars game now has to have this little small companion alongside you. I don't know why that is. I mean, I'm sure it's probably for toy sales, but...
Hey, I heard you could put a turret on my ship. I'm sorry?
She said she'll put a turret anywhere if you give her a tooth. Forgive the intrusion, but I sensed you needed an interpreter.
Oh, thanks, but I'm not giving her a tooth.
This is maybe a small criticism, but the facial animations don't quite look quite up to par. It looks a little wooden in the eyes. Also, I love how they have like a female C-3PO here. Interesting.
No, not your tooth. A Sarlacc tooth. One from its second mouth.
Second mouth? Oh, you won't take credits?
Yeah, something about those facial animations don't...
She says if you won't pay for breakfast, you can eat sand for free. A Jawa proverb.
No, I get it. I'll get the tooth. But that turret better be good.
You have a deal? How exciting. You know, this reminds me of my time negotiating with the Trade Federal.
Hey, ND, you know where I can get a Sarlacc tooth?
Sarlacc. And you need to find its pit. I'd start in the Dune Sea.
Now, the thing about this open world, they've said that on the speeder you can drive it for like 4 to 5 minutes. I really do wonder how much content is actually here. Like, it's cool to see the Jawas. I think that's another one of their vehicles and such in the background over here, but I just wonder how much actual content is within these open world hubs, because I think there's like 4 to 5 planets that we're going to be able to explore. But I guess that's really the question of how much content is within this, and also how enjoyable it is. You know, quality over quantity, obviously.
What is that?
Ooh. Some light flickering.
Stay sharp, Kay. A pristine Sarlacc tooth is worth a lot on the black market.
You saying I'll have competition?
Dead Sarlaccs get scavenged fast. Anyone else looking for a tooth won't be coming alone.
A lot of empty space.
conchida droi. Gigi su imta graba fingrani titoki.
It's a dead Sarlacc. Who knows what's crawling around down there?
So this is the stealth. I think that's supposed to be the focus of this gameplay. And this should be interesting. It's Sarlacc Pit, right?
Okay, that's one mouth down. You good, buddy? Ugh, it's kind of leathery.
Is that our hidden loading screen? I guess the Sarlacc Pit is a cave, pretty much.
Kay, the Jawas have arrived at the ship.
Did they bring a turret?
They did. They have yet to confirm that it works.
Okay, well, you keep an eye on that. I've got to find a way down to the bottom of this pit.
I feel like a Sarlacc Pit should be a little bit more interesting. Again, this is all nitpicky, but...
Ugh, so many dead things in this dead thing.
maybe I spoke too soon. We'll see.
Well, that worked.
Shooting things out of the way, okay.
What do you see? Phew, the tooth, finally. Sorry, droid. I need this more than you. ND?
Finally. What's your status?
Well, I found a tooth. Now I just need to get out of this pit. Why?
I mean, so far it's been fine. It's just... So far this footage has been fine. It just seems like a normal side quest, side activity. There's nothing really that interesting about it. I thought the Sarlacc Pit would be a little bit more... There'd be something more to it, but it's just... meh.
No. Hurry, please.
And they fast forwarded, apparently. And then here we have our hidden loading screens, I believe. And there's some frame drops. What? What was that? Oh my gosh. That explosion looks so bad. I gotta take that back. Oh my, and then the frame drops too. That was terrible. It looks terrible. I mean, again, I'm sure some people will take this away as a nitpick, but it doesn't look great. At least to me. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll continue. Graphically, this just doesn't look that great. This is 4K quality. This is supposed to be as good as it looks.
That's my tooth.
Okay, so somebody... Okay, they just fast forwarded. You know, you have two speeders going back and forth, at it. You would think that they'd want to keep that in there, show maybe that K-Vest can take him out or something. I don't know, unless this is just like a literal scripted event and then it has to end up here. I'm not sure if there's actual different paths that'll come about from this. I hope, but again, them just skipping over that in this footage, not impressive at all.
Wait.
But here we have stealth, an actual stealth mission.
All right, Nix, go get him.
Someone nearby?
Getting jumpy.
Okay, well, never mind for stealth.
All this for a tooth.
Okay, I guess the other enemies haven't noticed that there's just a giant explosion. I guess. And the frame drops sort of continued. I do love how scripted this is.
They're headed for us.
How did that not affect her at all? That's actually a good question. How did that not affect her at all? But it affected this individual that looked like they were farther away. But whatever. Again, I feel like I am nitpicking so bad, but there's so many little things that you can pick up here that's just like just a little off to make you feel like, I don't know about this. And I mean, overall, I think this gameplay so far has been, it's just fine. There's nothing impressive, nothing really that interesting about it, which kind of should make you a little worried that this is the gameplay that they're putting out there, that they thought was impressive.
I should get out of here.
Yeah, the explosion effects need some work badly.
Come on. Going loud. Oh!
And then we just skip forward again.
The Jawas are getting impatient.
How can you tell?
They're trying to disassemble me.
Okay. I'm headed back to their boss now, alright? Just, try to stay in one piece. Here. Straight from the, second mouth. That's good, right?
Oh, yes. I love watching the wheels of commerce in motion.
And that is the side quest mission. It's...
Oh, Criff. It's hot, Nix.
I assume it's a side quest, too. Okay, these are abilities, I guess we unlocked. Laser turret. We'll fast forward through this. Frame drops again a little bit.
Turret is active, Kay.
That looks cool, except for the fact that this is...
We'll have more exclusive looks at Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay, well, there wasn't much there, except for a little scripted event there at the end. They probably should have led with that, but overall, this gameplay just wasn't that... The problem with Star Wars Outlaws, everything I've seen, I think my opinion has soured quite a bit, in which I've gone from, maybe this is a dream Star Wars game, to this is probably just going to be another 6 or 7 out of 10, in which you can probably wait a couple months to play this whenever it's discounted. And for Ubisoft's sake, this has kind of become the norm with a lot of their experiences. It's a lot of... I guess I'll eventually play it, but I don't know. This is what they thought that they wanted people to see, and it was just a boring mission which should have been a lot more interesting. And this is the problem with a lot of the side activities and side content in these Ubisoft experiences. They just feel so forgettable. You compare it to other open world developers, whether that be Rockstar, CDPR, they have some fantastic side quests that are truly memorable and even rival the main story. This just feels like a fetch quest, a boring fetch quest, especially with them having to remove sections of, I'm guessing, boring gameplay. But yeah, I don't think Star Wars Outlaws is looking all that great, and everything as of late's just reaffirmed the perspective of this is probably going to be a game that you're just going to want to wait on. Anyway, that's just my take on it. How do you feel differently about this gameplay? Let me know down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, if you found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.